Beers with Chad.
Hey everybody, what's up? Chad Wesley Smith here, Beers with Chad. Super Bowl weekend is upon us. It's time to enjoy what's going to be a great game. Today I'm drinking from Brewdog, the aptly named Juggernaut Imperial IPA sent to me by a fan, Mike Holbert. So thanks to Mike. And if you want to send me beers, I will gladly accept them. If you got cool breweries around you or something you think I would enjoy or try, go for it. Hit me up on Instagram. I'll let you know where to send it. You can then begin to very accurately stalk me from there. But much appreciation to Mike for sending these out to me. So as we get into, as I did a terrible pour there, let that settle down. As we get into Super Bowl weekend, probably no surprise to any of you who I'm rooting for, Los Angeles Rams. Got to spend some time with the Rams during training camp, particularly their strength staff, Ted Rath and Eddie Greer, the now famous, infamous Ted Rath, the get-back coach for Sean McVay. Cheers, everybody. Very, very good. Very, very good. Nice 8.8% double IPA. Couldn't call a beer Juggernaut without it being strong. So thanks again to Mike Holbert for that. So I'm rooting for the Rams, and I just want to talk about some of the things, keys to the game on both sides that we're going to see. The football that the Rams and the Patriots have both been playing their best football thus far in the playoffs. The Rams have been doing well in areas that I wouldn't have expected them to do well. If you would have told me, against the Cowboys, they were going to give up 180 yards rushing to between Zeke and Dak, I wouldn't have been shocked. But then their run defense played incredibly, holding them to under 50 yards rushing. Then their run defense played excellent against the Saints' great run defense. So if you would have told me they were going to be in these high-scoring shootouts and that, Gurley was going to go for a bunch of yards and Goff was going to throw for a bunch of yards and they were going to be creative in the way that they are using Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, that's what I would have expected. But for them to come out and stop the run so effectively, something they haven't done well all year, was a huge surprise to me and is going to come in so key if they can continue to do that against the Patriots, who have been running the ball so incredibly effectively. The Patriots have the greatest, game manager has such a negative connotation, but the guy who can get up, make all the right checks, get the ball out of his hands quickly, and it's such a great complement to this very physical running attack that they've shown the last few weeks with Sony Michel, complemented by Rex Burkhead, James White catching the ball out of the backfield, using a fullback, one of the rare teams in the NFL that ever uses a fullback these days, with the best blocking tight end in the NFL, Gronk, who is still an incredible weapon. So that overall is going to be the key to the game. How well can Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, Michael Brockers, three guys who are all top 15 picks in the NFL, how well can they stop that run game, particularly because the Rams linebackers definitely aren't the strength of their team. So how well can they stop the run? How well can they create pressure up the middle against Tom Brady, where it bothers Brady the most, where it bothers pretty much any quarterback the most? And then what kind of success can the vaunted defensive backs, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, Joyner, Johnson, all these guys have against this incredibly efficient, if not flashy Patriots passing attack? So, on paper, as we look at the best players in the game, the Rams have more of the better players, the bigger name players. But what makes the Patriots so great and what's made them so great now for almost 20 years is that they are truly more than the sum. They're greater than the sum of their parts through their scheme, their discipline, their ability to adapt to situations, to make adjustments throughout the game. So it's going to all start up front. Sue, Brockers, and Aaron Donald versus that Patriots offensive line. If they can stop the run effectively, which they've done a great job of the last couple weeks, though they did not do well in the regular season, advantage Rams. If they can create pressure in Brady's face, which they're going to have to do in a hurry, they're going to have to get their hands up. For as great as Aaron Donald is, not a very tall guy, so maybe Sue and Brocker is going to have some more success there, getting their hands up, disrupting passing lanes, Dante Fowler creating pressure from the outside to get Brady off of his spot. Defensive back's going to have to be physical. The Patriots are very clever in the ways they get Julian Edelman moving to get him cleaner releases, and they're great slot receivers. Edelman, Hogan working from the slot, Philip Dorsett working from the slot. They're going to run these quick little option routes, and they've got to disrupt them. They've got to make Brady hold the ball longer than 2 seconds, because as you saw, if you saw the Chargers game and you saw Joey Bosa and Brady kind of joking back and forth to each other, like, Bosa telling him, "Man, you're getting rid of the ball so fast," and Tom Brady telling him, like, "Well, if you didn't get back here so fast, I wouldn't have to get rid of it so fast." But the reality is that if Brady's getting rid of the ball in 2.2, 2.3 seconds, no matter how great Aaron Donald is, best defensive player in the NFL, no matter how great Ndamukong Suh is, playing like Ndamukong Suh that we expected, Michael Brocker, super talented, Dante Fowler, great pass rusher, no matter how great those guys are playing, they're not going to get there. You can't get there when he's getting rid of the ball in 2 seconds and less. So the defensive backs have got to disrupt those routes. They've got to stop Edelman from getting clean releases and giving Brady a way to get rid of the ball so quickly. So Aqib Talib has got to be physical, and he is. He's a great defensive back. He's very, very physical, and their defensive backs have been playing so much better since he returned, as he's sort of a galvanizing leadership force in that defensive backfield. So I expect Talib to spend most of his time following Julian Edelman around, although he's a pretty good option to cover Gronk as well, and maybe they put him on Gronk in those third and 8 to 3rd and 12 type of situations, red zone situations where Gronk seems to still be Gronk. Probably not an every down type of thing, but those in those clutch important situations like 3rd and long and in the red zone, Brady's definitely still looking for him, and he's still nearly unguardable, as he showed in the AFC Championship with that great catch down the sideline being covered by the exceptional Eric Berry. So it's going to be, can the Rams receivers disrupt Patriots, or can the Rams defensive backs disrupt the Patriots receivers on their releases to make Brady hold the ball that extra 0.3 to 0.5 of a second to allow some of that pressure from Donald, Sue, and Brockers and Fowler to get there to disrupt Brady? Can they keep stopping the run? And then from the Rams side, the Rams are going to run the ball effectively. They have done so all year, and they're only doing it better now with the two-headed rushing attack of C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley. There is no doubt in my mind that we are going to see a very good game from Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is too good, too talented, just an exceptional player for him to play like he did against the Saints, to be so limited in his role. No doubt in my mind that he is going to be as healthy as he can be coming into the game with the bye week, and that he's chomping at the bit to show that the NFC Championship was a fluke, to get involved and to help his team. With that being said, as you're looking at prop bets on the game, Todd Gurley, when I bet on it, was plus 1,000 for MVP, and I'm putting money on that for sure. Not that I necessarily think, if the Rams win, Jared Goff or Todd Gurley is very likely to be the MVP. Maybe it's going to be C.J. Anderson, but for a guy who through 12 weeks of the season looked like he could have been the MVP of the regular season, plus 1,000 for Super Bowl MVP sounds like great odds on Todd Gurley, who I do think is going to have a big game. C.J. Anderson's going to be physical. So everyone always talks about, Bill Belichick takes away your best player. He takes away what you do best. So what is it that he is going to want to take away? What is it that the Rams do best? Is it running the ball? Does he put his attention to stopping Todd Gurley, to stopping C.J. Anderson? And then you have, Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks flying across the formation for jet sweeps and and the rocket motion and all that stuff. The creative things that they do, the window dressing to this very physical running attack. I'm not Bill Belichick, so I can't tell you what he's going to try and stop. But I do think that Gurley has a good game running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield, that the Rams are too dynamic offensively to be shut down. And it's not just that they do one thing great. They do so many things very, very well. What the Rams haven't been doing well, though, and particularly last week, is they got off to a very slow start, something they also did in their regular season game against the Saints. And a slow start, especially when you consider how fast the Patriots started against the Chargers, and they're like Usain Bolt coming out of the blocks, and against the Chiefs getting out to a 14-0 lead. We can't afford a slow Rams start with a fast Patriots start, the game being over before it's barely begun, as this very experienced Patriots team is definitely going to step on the throat at that point. And who knows with the Rams? Yeah, they've got some guys with Super Bowl rings, Talib, CJ Anderson, a couple other guys on the team. Cooks has got Super Bowl experience very recently with the Patriots, so it'll be interesting to see how that tremendously experienced Patriots team versus a relatively inexperienced Rams team at this level, how much that comes into play, how much that really matters, to be honest, because 18 years ago, 19 years ago, the last time the Rams and Patriots played in the Super Bowl, I guess neither of the teams, I suppose, were very experienced. But that Patriots team, well, I take that back. Sorry, the entire Rams team had just played in the Super Bowl the previous year, while virtually none of those Patriots, unless they'd been around for the Bill Parcells, Drew Bledsoe Super Bowl against Brett Favre, none of those guys had played in the Super Bowl before, and they still won. So experience, yeah, people love to talk about it, but it's not a be-all, end-all in terms of winning the game. So I think the Rams' multiple skills on offense, their ability to spread the ball around to all these different playmakers is going to be huge, and that they can get Jared Goff comfortable running the ball with CJ Anderson, running the ball with Todd Gurley, creating some level of confusion, as much as you can confuse such an experienced, savvy defense with all the jet sweeps and motions that they do. The young, mastermind versus the old Jedi in McVay versus Bill Belichick, 66 years old versus 33 years old. Everyone's been talking about that. We know what Bill Belichick's going to do in the Super Bowl. It's going to be exceptional. The Sean McVay is doing great stuff. Boy wonder, boy genius, whatever. He's a great coach. He's going to come in with a great game plan. Maybe the more interesting side of things is going to be Josh McDaniel, offensive coordinator for the Patriots, versus Wade Phillips. People talk about Wade Phillips when he was the coordinator for the Broncos, being able to really give the Patriots a hard time, holding them to like 17, 18, and 24 points, I believe, in their 3 meetings. And he did that with similar in a lot of ways personnel to what he's got here with the Rams. He did it with great corners, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris in Denver, now Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters with the Rams. And he did it with the ability to rush the passer with just the defensive linemen, because there he had Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. Now he's got Donald, Fowler, Sue, Brockers. So similar personnel-wise, pretty similar. I think much better linebacking group that he had with the Broncos. But people have criticized Wade Phillips, and even Bill Belichick kind of took maybe a veiled shot at him, saying that he's done the same thing for 30 years, and he adapted his dad's system, and maybe that he seemed to say it in a positive way, but kind of seemed like a backhanded compliment, and that people criticize Wade Phillips for not adapting. And we talked about last week with the Patriots, what they do the best is they adapt, and that's what's made them so great. So it almost seems like Wade Phillips is more about the Jimmies and Joes than the X's and O's, and he's got the talent. That's why they spent all that money with the Rams this year for those guys who can play man-to-man and shut people down, those guys who can win one-on-one matchups and get to the quarterback. So that'll be an interesting thing to see, if how much game plan adjustments going in and in-game adjustments Wade Phillips makes with this defense as they work against Josh McDaniels' offense and Tom Brady's offense to be frank about it. So I'm very excited for the game. From a betting standpoint, I bet the Rams, the over, put some money on Gurley for MVP, put some money on a plus 4,000 Brandon Cooks for MVP, even though if he was to win MVP, or if he was to score 2 touchdowns and have a big day, then it probably means that Jared Goff is going to be winning MVP. But maybe Cooks catches 2 touchdowns, mixes a big run in there, and for plus 4,000, to put $100 down on Cooks seems like a good bet to me. So I'm pumped to watch the game, pumped to see my friends on the Rams do well. I appreciate the sustained excellence of the Patriots. Even though Bill Belichick kind of seems like a dick, Tom Brady, spouts off a bunch of nonsense in the TB12 method. I'm still very, very impressed with how they do it, the longevity that they've done it by. I'm excited to see a great game, to eat some great food, to drink some great beers. Thanks again, Mike Colbert, for sending me out this the Brewdog Juggernaut Imperial IPA. Very, very good. If you want to send me beers, I'd appreciate it. Hit me up on Instagram at Chad Wesley Smith, at Beers with Chad. Subscribe on iTunes, leave a 5-star review, subscribe on YouTube, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Go Rams. We'll see you next week.